Welcome back to the Nazarene Nerd Podcast. I'm David, the Nazarene Nerd. And today I have a good friend of mine on, Stephanie Gordon, or as some people may know her on her Instagram as Steffi Monster, for her cosplay persona back in the day. Her and I have a good chat about why we got into it and kind of why we got out of it. Short interview, had some technical issues during the recording process, but the audio came out fine. So hopefully her and I can have another conversation sometime soon, maybe to expand on some stuff that happened, within the last couple years of getting out of cosplaying and growing our families. But I hope you guys enjoy this episode.
You're freaking boys, man. They're psycho. I know you have one, so you know.
Yeah, he's 6 years old and a nut job.
That sounds about right. Mine's not even a year old and is a nut job, so
Oh wow.
you'd be
You
nice.
have two kids now?
Yeah, I have two now. I have a 12-year-old and an almost 1-year-old. It's
12.
crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
Time flies.
yeah. It's crazy. I feel like it was just like yesterday I was taking her to Disney when she was like 4. So,
Yeah, I think like when I started following you on Instagram, I think that was around the time she was probably about the same age as Daniel, probably what 6 or 7 years old. And
yeah,
well, no, I guess it would have been sooner than that
yeah,
because I think I followed you during the cosplay era, before my wife and I had met. So she's probably 4 or 5 then.
yeah. I remember when you guys announced that you guys were gonna have a baby and stuff, and I was so excited for y'all. That was so cool.
Yeah, it was
Oh.
a big endeavor. When they say your life's going to change, it really does.
You're never bored ever again. So
No, no, or sane ever again.
yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the time to do this. I know you're like, oh, what's a stay-at-home mom? Or I guess I don't know. Do you stay at home or you were a
No,
teacher, weren't
I
you?
work now. I'm not a teacher. I was a substitute teacher for a short while. So I started working with my local school district as a sub. And then I got hired on as what they call an attendance interventionist, where I pretty much call you and be like, hey, why is your kid not coming to school? What the hell?
Yeah.
Like that's my job. And then I would send like police to your house if your kid missed enough days, which is
Oh
crazy.
wow.
And then they had an opening in IT, and so I got the job in IT. So I'm now a computer technician with my local school district, which is pretty cool. So
Oh, so
yeah.
you're right up our alley trying to figure out audio problems.
Yeah, that's what I was I was like, here's the most IT thing, unplug it and plug it
Turn
back
it back. Yeah.
in.
And
Yeah.
I got a brand new computer for Christmas. It's more of a notebook, but it's 1 terabyte, 16 gigs of RAM. That's like the basis of what I wanted for video editing and stuff. So, but
Nice.
I got the podcasting stuff last year, so I haven't really used it with this computer yet. And everything terrifies me that this computer's going to blow up.
Oh yeah.
I don't want it to blow up. So my last one basically did. I got the blue screen of death every 5 minutes. Oh, it ran
Yeah.
to an error, rebooting. Be fine for 5 minutes. Oh, ran to an error, rebooting. So
Probably was a spin up drive. I'm not gonna lie. You probably had a spin up drive and you needed to change it out to an SSD. That's
yeah,
usually the
the
blue.
I think the biggest issue when I started was I tried to upgrade the storage myself and upgrade the RAM, and it stopped working completely. I don't know if I'm sure there were steps in between I probably should have done it, and besides just taking things out and putting them back in, and then
Yeah.
just kind of. And so I had a friend of mine completely reinstall Windows, and it worked for 6 months, and then it started doing it again. So I'm like, oh, well, time to get a new one.
Yeah. That's how it always works.
But again, I thank you for coming on to the podcast. I I know that, like you said, there's what kind of interesting things we talk about, but I know when we started to know each other was during the cosplay era, which I think since then both of us don't really do near as much anymore.
No, I don't. Not anymore. Like sometimes I'll do birthday parties and stuff for like people, or I'll go to like the schools dressed up, but that's about it. Like I don't.
See, I can't do anything. I mean, I since then I've gained like 60 pounds, so I can't
Oh
really
yeah,
fit into.
I've gained like 30 pounds. So
It's
a lot of my stuff doesn't fit me.
it's hard to get back into the costumes and stuff. But so what would be your reason to getting out of cosplaying?
A lot of it was like for a while there I had like that roommate that was my best friend and she like really screwed me over. And then she turned a lot of like cosplayers against me, which I was like, I don't even care. Like I didn't really have a lot of friends anyways. And it was just like a very toxic mentality for a while. And it was just putting me down, like in a bad mental state. So I was like, I'm going to focus on my mental health. I'm going to do what makes me happy. And like, I still like to create and sew and do that kind of stuff. And I was like, there's other things I can do that isn't cosplay and still like help out my community and do things. So I took a step back from it and I was just like, I'm going to focus on like what my daughter needs. Cause at the time I was a stay-at-home mom too. So I just like kind of took a step back and I did things for her and I like joined like the PTA on her school and I did a lot of that stuff. And I just try to make her life as much as possible, like enrich her life because I was like cosplay's not enriching my life anymore and it's stressing me out and it's like a lot of, negativity that I didn't want in my life. So I took a step back and since I live in a small town, everybody knows everybody. And if you're in
Hmm.
the cosplay community, everybody knows you and that whole thing. And the thing is I stayed quiet. I didn't like try to defend myself or anything because I was like people are going to know, they're going to find out on their own. And slowly over the years, people have like trickled back and apologized to me. They're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that actually happened. I believed them. And now that I know them and they screwed me over, I understand. And I was like, yeah, that's just how life is. And
Yeah,
just
I
let it
feel like cosplay really got into a for-profit type business anymore. That for me being, yes, from a small town and your average looking white dude, I wasn't really going to make it that far anyway
yeah,
compared to like some hunky-dory guy that's, ripped and can do a Goku cosplay, or a really attractive girl who wears, I'll throw Jessica Negri out there. She's great at what she does. Like some of
yeah,
her costumes are fantastic, but then there's others where it's like, okay, you put cat ears on and a skimpy top and bottom and call it cosplay, and I kind
yeah,
of seen where it was going.
yeah,
And obviously I can't do that. So,
yeah.
and like
You
like
could,
you
but it would
said,
be questionable.
yeah, yeah, people wouldn't want to see it. That's the thing. But like you said, it stressed you out. I think that's, I mean, besides gaining weight, part of the reason why I got out of that and a lot of other stuff, just the stress of everything. And I'd say in like the last 5 or 6 years, stuff has definitely become more stressful. And it's just, I know that last year I was focusing more on de-stressing out of everything. Like I had to get rid of my gaming PC, which was 10 years old when I got it anyway. So it's not like it was that good of a thing, but stuff that was going to make me stressed and come home and worry about stuff and get angry with my wife and my kid and stuff like that. I tried to avoid so I don't get angry with my wife and son for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's just like a mentality thing. Like you just want to like be in a good mental space. And
Yeah.
cosplay, when it stopped doing that for me, I was like, it's no longer worth it because I don't like the person I'm waking up being. So that's why I mostly stopped.
Yeah, but I think what got me into it was the Spider-Man stuff, and I think that's where I originally met you. Were
Yeah.
you part of the Spidey Society?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
And I distinctly remember I got kicked out. I don't know what year, but I got an argument over with somebody over a pulley system, which was the dumbest thing ever. It was
Yeah.
either what's a lever or a pulley system, and I got an argument with this guy, and they're like, "Oh, you're out." And I
Yeah.
hadn't been in it since, but it was always I mean, it helped me figure out how to do the best Spider-Man costume. I never knew anything about face shells at first, and it made good costumes, but that was the kind of the downfall of what I saw being the Spider-Man cosplays and the at least my being with groups type of cosplay whenever I did more of just like you said, birthday parties, events, and just kind of like you said, being local, everyone knows who you are.
Yeah.
And so when another person does it, I got a text or call, "Hey, was it you over there?" I'm like, "No, that wasn't me." And I still get those. I'm like, I haven't done a costume in years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mostly just wear my costumes for Halloween now.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I go to the schools dressed up. Like this year I was Sally. So I wore a
I did
Sally.
see that one. Yeah,
Yeah. So that was fun. But like it wasn't a full cosplay. I was not doing a full thing. So
yeah. I think the most costumes I do now um, is for like the Ren Fair, and even those just more comfortable
yeah.
baggy medieval clothes. So,
Oh yeah, make it as simple as possible. Yeah.
oh, okay, I did. I'm lying. I did do one really good one. I don't know if you saw pictures of it. but I did the Grinch this year.
Oh, I didn't see that. I'm gonna have to look that up now.
Yeah, I so last year I had a guy come into work and all he did was wear like this green furry jumpsuit and painted his face green and his beard and hair he sprayed it green. And I hadn't done any costumes since then. And I'm like, I could one up this guy.
Yeah.
So I actually had my mother sew me up a Grinch costume. I bought a prosthetic face piece and then I went to work like that. And then I actually went to I guess the local happening town's like an hour from me in Altoona. I went there around town and I went
How
to
did
some
you
businesses and got
think?
pictures and stuff. Yeah, the kids, it was fantastic. And that's the thing that really got me into it in the first place was just seeing people's faces and them loving the costumes. And I always wanted to do something that was realistic. I hated like seeing these costumes that are so cheesy and parents paying buku bucks for these terrible costumes. Like
Yeah.
I want it to be believable.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
What was your favorite cosplay that you've ever done?
That's hard. So I really liked doing like the Disney princesses because little girls would just like die. And I loved it. And I always loved being like the Disney princess. And that, like, Tinkerbell was probably one of my favorites just for that simple reason because little girls went wild over it. And like I did a lot of local events here as Ariel and Tinkerbell, and it's just the best. Like being a Disney princess, hands down, is so much fun. But like as an adult going to like San Diego Comic-Con, I think the best costumes are like Spider-Gwen because
Mm.
they're really comfortable. It's just like a one piece. The worst part is the wig that you have to wear all day, but besides that, like it's not bad. Like it's just very comfy. You can just kind of be yourself and just walk around.
Yeah, we're in the Grinch stuff. Like it's a prosthetic that goes right on your lip and the whole way around, but there's like no nose breathing holes. So as my mom's putting it on, she's freaking out because like she's like, I can't. Just thinking about you not being able to breathe out your nose, it freaks me out. And so I had people like, and it's full furry legs and everything. And people are like, you hot in that? And I'm like, I've done so much worse in different costumes. So
Yeah, yeah.
like spandex, it's comfortable, but it gets I'd say a lot hotter during the summertime.
Oh
And
yeah.
and the face shell over top your face, you breathe in
Oh
your
yeah.
own sweat and you can just see it dripping inside.
I also really liked being Supergirl. Supergirl was always really fun too, because little girls went wild over seeing Supergirl. So like it's just whatever the kids really liked. That's what I
Hmm.
liked. Like their reactions was the reason why I wanted to always cosplay that character. It wasn't even like, and it's funny because like when you go to conventions, there's always like the guys that are like, they use their kids to get a picture with you. And I think that's the funniest thing because my dad does it as well. Because he'd be like, "Oh, is that, do you know her?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's actually my friend. Let me go ask her to get a picture with you." And he was like, "Yes," you know. So, and my dad being like in his 70s now, it's just funny that, he was like, "Oh, you know that cosplay girl?" I'm like, "Oh, I do. Let me go talk to her and I'll have her take a picture with you, Dad." And he's like, "Okay."
Yeah, yeah. Pretty girl in a costume? Heck yeah.
So dads never outgrow that. So
No. And it's always your parents are always your biggest fans. And like my dad's always taking pictures and my mom's always proud of the work she does. Because I mean, most of the stuff like that's bought, even so, she has to um, alter. Like with the
yeah,
Spider-Man stuff, you have to. The first one we just took a pair of water shoes to cut the bottom off and just glued them onto the bottom of the shoe, the
the
feet.
suit. Yeah.
And it worked well for a while, but your feet still kind of like slipped out from the top because they weren't like enclosed. So then we realized about getting the slip-on like fake Converse and actually sewing the suit around them. So you're actually putting real shoes on. So like, and that was one of the things I learned from that Spidey group. But it's always every suit I have, I'm always I if I didn't have my mother, I wouldn't have really cool costumes
Yeah,
because
I
I'm
feel
not sewing uh literate at all.
Yeah, I've had to like take in a lot of my dresses like back when I was skinnier because like when I was cosplaying, I was like 102 pounds. Like I was
Wow.
not healthy. Like now I'm a happy like 138, which I'm like, this is what a 5'5" woman should weigh. Like I shouldn't weigh 102 pounds. Like that's not
Yeah.
12-year-old weighs as much as I did 7, 8 years ago, which I think is insane.
I was
And now
like,
she's stealing all my clothes, but that's
yeah.
fine.
That's it looking at Ariana Grande now. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I know.
She
She's
looks like a
so,
skeleton.
yeah, she's so tiny. Yeah.
As much as
So,
I'm not a big fan of her, I feel bad for her. That and that
yeah.
other girl too. I don't they look like they had to go through. I don't know if it was part of their contract or whatever, but they look sick.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't look comfortable at all. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, parenting is always fun. And now trying to get your kids into what you used to like and we we put my mom made Daniel a suit as well, but obviously we didn't put a prosthetic on his face. We just painted it up, and man, he was not having a good time. He loved it at first, loved the pictures, but then he just was not having a good time at all. He was so grumpy, didn't want to take pictures.
Oh yeah, that's how little kids are though. Like my daughter
Yeah.
always loved dressing up and I always go hard for Halloween for her because she's with her dad every other Halloween. So when she's at my house, she tells me what she wants to be and that whole entire month I work on her costume.
Hmm.
So like not last year because she was with her dad, but the year before she wanted to be a mushroom fairy, but not any colored mushroom. She wanted to be a blue mushroom. And I was like, of course
Hmm.
you want a blue mushroom fairy. I was like, because they don't make any blue mushroom stuff. So
Yeah.
I found fairy ears that had blue mushrooms. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then I made her a mushroom hat out of like a sun hat. And then I got a big frilly dress and I put white polka dots on it and I 3D printed mushroom things on the shoulder that glue in the dark, did her makeup, made fairy wings, just yeah. It's so much more fun to go hard for the kids now, especially because I do have my cosplay background. I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
my kids are gonna have the best Halloweens.
Yeah, it's like your our kids' costumes are going to be much better than whatever other kids buying from Walmart.
Yeah. And like this year, it was his first Halloween, and I was like, you're gonna be Mothman.
That's amazing.
Because all he wants to do is look at bright lights. And I was like, you're Mothman.
Yeah.
So I got a bat costume off of Amazon and then I fabric painted like moth wings on the back. And then I changed the bat ears into antenna and it was just crazy. But yeah, he was Mothman and it was really cute.
That's fantastic. Well, I appreciate your time coming on here. I'm not sure how much time I got left for the Zoom call since 40 minutes for free, whatever, but and
Oh, silly. Yeah.
technical issues. But I really appreciate you coming on and hopefully we can have a longer conversation about something else and at some point when the audio isn't as bad. And maybe it's just my headphones. I don't know. We'll find out in
Yeah.
post.
Well, we can try Discord again too and see if it's working now because it was being weird.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on to the podcast. I appreciate you coming on and hopefully we get a chance to talk again soon.
Yeah, for sure. Just anytime. Just Saturdays work great because I only work Monday through Thursdays. So it's
It must be
fantastic.
nice. Do you get
Yeah.
10-hour days?
Yeah, 10-hour days. And I work
We're
for the
fighting
school
for that.
district. So, and our school district is only Monday through Thursday. We don't have
Wow.
school. So it's pretty exciting.
That'd be nice. We're pushing
Yeah.
for 10-hour days at our job, but
Yeah. Yeah, try to do it.
yeah. Well, again, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.